has gotten so big it's out of my hands. It even got to the point, my vote doesn't count, I'm not even going to show up. And after that happened, the members of Congress and the liberal media elites began to cry about apathy out there. Why there aren't enough people voting? Why can our democracy survive? And now, more people than ever before are writing, calling, and demanding to be heard, demanding to have things explained to them. And you've got elected officials in Washington, D.C. in a sheer panic because you care now. Because it's not as easy to ramrod things through as it used to be. They're demanding accountability. You are. I think it's great. I think you people ought to be applauded, and I think you ought to feel proud. I'll tell you how effective you've become. Any of you watch CNN Crossfire at night to get the president's commercial? You got a 2-minute commercial. It runs about Eastern Time, 7:50, 7:52 every night at the end of Crossfire. You know what the president's doing at the end of every commercial? He's giving out the Capitol Hill switchboard telephone number and asking you to call your congressman. And tell your congressman that you support his bill. While the President of the United States is doing that, anytime they perceive a lot of phone calls to have been generated by talk radio, what do? They criticize talk radio, they criticize activist hosts, they criticize public that is angry and uninformed and uneducated and is simply a bunch of mind-numbed robots executing orders. And they say this is bad for America. They're tying up the phones. I can't get any work done. My phone won't stop ringing. They blame people like me and my colleagues in talk radio for this terrible wart on the face of democracy. And yet there they are, forced now into playing the same game. The President of the United States asking people to call Congress. And you don't see the press being critical of the President, do you? You don't see the press being critical of the President for tying up the Capitol Hill switchboard, do you? It's probably because the Capitol Hill switchboard isn't tied up when the President asks you to call. But he's still out there trying to do it. I'll tell you, that we sometimes, when you live amidst major change, you're not really aware of how profound it is because you're living your life. You go through the days doing what you have to do to put food on the table and keep your kids out of jail and get them into college, make sure that you have a job and so forth. And at the same time, you decide to take on some more active roles in political and issue-oriented endeavors. And the changes that people acting in great numbers cause are obvious, but sometimes you're not really as aware of how profound it is till a few years out, and you look back and say, wow, do you realize what happened back in the 1990s? Do you realize how the face of government and politics changed in this country from 1989 forward? You look back on it, and it'll be a lot more profound to you than it is as you're living through it. That's why I think you ought to take some time and just be aware. How many of you are joining protest marches for the first time in your lives? And how many of you are going out there as individuals? You're not being organized by a group leader. You're not responding to a rent-a-mob ad in the classified section of the local newspaper. You're just going out there because you feel it. Your passion's driving you out there, and you're making up a sign, and you're going out there, and you're trying to be heard. And why? Because you have this sense that it's effective. You have this sense that it's a way you can be heard, and you'll want to be heard now. And you are being. You're being heard so much that you're being insulted by the people who beg you to vote for them. You're being insulted every day. Because you don't know what you're doing now. You're not smart now. You're dangerous now. You're vicious. You're full of hatred now. And all you are courageous, involved, passionate, caring Americans who have had enough with what you see as the decay of this great country all around you, as well as your freedoms. And you're simply standing up and saying, enough. And you got to realize how many of you are doing it and how profound the effect is. And because of this, the attacks on you are mounting. Don't let them get you down. Don't let the attacks or the criticisms cause you to give pause and examine yourselves and motives. Thank the Lord for your enemies every day, and wear those enemies as badges of honor. Keep doing this. this guy calling the AARP and said, what the hell do you mean speaking from? But it's the first time the AARP has gotten a call from him, and they've spoken for him, I'll bet you, thousands of times. What they think about this piece of legislation or that piece of legislation or this benefit or that benefit. And I'll bet old James in Tucson says, fine. But all of a sudden now they're speaking for him, and James says, wait just a minute, who gave you the right? Keep doing it, folks. You're effective. We'll be back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
If you are in business or have children in school, then this message is for you. This is Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute. Imagine you or your children with a virtual photographic memory and being able to remember names and faces, facts and information, telephone numbers, things to do, and more. Students get straight A's with less study time. Call 1-800-862-MEGA and see why over 2 million people have already benefited from the easy-to-learn Mega Memory Home Study course. That's 1-800-862-MEGA. 1-800-862-MEGA.
And Bench hits it to deep left. That might be. It's hit to the wall and over. Home run by Bench.
Hi, this is Johnny Bench for the club. Hitting home runs and making plays is what I'm best known for. Preventing your car from being stolen is what the club is best known for. The club is America's favorite anti-theft device. It mounts onto your steering wheel within seconds and is virtually impossible to remove without the key. The club works where other cheap imitations fail. If you want to keep it, club it. Use the club and score one for the good guys.
Burger King presents Mr. Know-It-All. Okay, Mr. Know-It-All, what do you know about me?
Well, you're fairly normal. Like 4 out of 5 people, you prefer flame-broiled burgers to fried, am I right?
You are correct, sir.
You know the Whopper is the #1 preferred burger, and there's a Whopper value meal, including drink and fries for any size appetite.
He's right again, folks.
Of course, there's the original Whopper value meal at just $2.99 every day, but the way you eat...
Mr. Know-It-All, there's no need.
Alone at night, when you think no one's watching, you are probably a double Whopper value meal guy. And with all that beef, it's only $3.99 every day. Then again, you're cheap.
That's enough about me.
So maybe you go for the Whopper Junior value meal at just $1.99 every day.
Let's move on, sir.
That's not your real hair. You cheated on your second-grade spelling bee, and you still call your poor old mother Colette.
Whopper value meals at Burger King. We may not be the world's #1 fast food place, it just tastes that way. Prices may vary, often subject to owner participation, size of fries, and drinks may vary.
Tags 158.fee extra. Nobody does it better than Leaf, Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep, Eagle, Leaf, Dodge, Isuzu, and nobody does it for less on this area's best variety of new, used, and program cars, trucks, and vans. Leaf has a 94 Chrysler LeBaron LE 4-door, yours with approved credit with no money down and only $259 per month with no payments till October. This LeBaron is loaded. V6, air, tilt, cruise, AM, FM, cassette, power windows, and more. At Leaf, Highway 70 west of Goldsboro. Payments based on 8.5% APR, tags 158.fee or extra.
Great summer times from Visa. From the jungles of Java to the mountains of Mexico, something special is brewing. It's LA's City Bean Coffee, where the coffees are as hot as the exotic places they come from. So if you want to pick up some ground roast from Guatemala or sit down to a Sumatran espresso, bring your favorite mug and your Visa card. Because at City Bean Coffee, they'll go to the ends of the earth to make the best latte in LA, but they won't take American Express. Visa, this summer it's everywhere you want to be.
Bumper music by Jambone X. This was a top hit in New York. Rush Limbaugh and the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. Now, you don't believe me sometimes when I say stuff, right? You people have bought the silly notion that I don't know what I'm talking about. I, again, am simply going to go back here to the words of Mrs. Clinton. What did I just tell you in praising you and encouraging you and in attempting to get you to recognize the momentous times in which we all live because of the things that you people are doing? I said, back in the days when you were apathetic, they complained about the terrible effects this might have on our democracy, but now all of a sudden you You know, you people care too much. You got too many phone calls to Congress. You're trying to study. You just don't know what you're doing now. You're an idiot. You're uninformed, and it's dangerous for America in these times because of talk radio and what's happening with the audience. You want proof? Here's Mrs. Clinton, today's Washington Post. I'll read the paragraph, which contains her quote. But she acknowledged, quote, how complicated and difficult a political task this is, meaning health care, and lamented, quote, the overly information-loaded society coupled with cynicism and distrust of government that makes change more difficult. You know too much now. You have too much information at your grasp. And this is dangerous for people like Mrs. Clinton who are plotting change. Isn't that what she really means to say? Cynicism and distrust of government makes change more difficult. Doesn't that mean makes takeovers more difficult? I think that's what she really means. We had a caller earlier today who believes that the Clintons think that just because they say it, you should believe it, and just because they want it, it should happen. And he believes that they're befuddled genuinely by the high degree of opposition that they run into at every turn. And they ought not be, because this country is not the country the Clintons see. And the country the Clintons want this to become is not the country the people of this country want it to become. It's no more complicated than that. And yet, do they listen to what the people don't want this health care bill now. People don't want this health care reform act now. The approval ratings of this health care bill in any poll you look at are below 50%. Now, if you ask them, you want universal coverage? Sure, hey, universal care, everybody ought to have health insurance. But that's not this bill. As Robert J. Samuelson says, most Americans seem to understand that this health care bill is a clunker. Will Congress? My theory is they know it's a clunker. My theory is the Clintons know that this is not a good bill. My theory is they know this is not even good legislation. They still demand it, do they not? Yet they say they've listened to the American people. Nah. If they'd listened to the American people, you know what Bill Clinton could do right now to confound every critic? You know what Bill Clinton could do to get reelected in 1996? Bill Clinton ought to call a press conference for 3 o'clock this afternoon, right after this show's over. 3 o'clock any day. Say, I've been listening, I've been watching, I've been reading. Ladies and gentlemen, the health care proposals that I have envisioned, I can't find them anymore. It's simply out of control. And I don't think the way we're doing this is good for this country or good for the American people. And I'm going to withdraw these proposals, and I'm going to tell the Congress that we shelve this debate until the new Congress is seated in January, and we start again and get it right, because that's what the American people... If he would do that, if he'd do something like, can you imagine, you look at his approval ratings 1 week later. We'll be back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
There are two words that are the same in almost every language.
Visa.
And golf.
Any country that requires a visa usually calls it a visa.
And anywhere they play golf, they usually call it golf.
Okay, so how do you say, take me to the country club in Spanish, French, German, Italian, or Japanese?
To learn how, call National Dynamic Speed Tapes. Join our discount travel club and you can play more greens for less fees worldwide.
Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Call 1-800-545-1985.
1-800-545-1985.
This is Dr. Ronald Hoffman, medical doctor and nutritionist. Let me tell you about Ginsana, the energizing product that I recommend to many of my patients. Ginsana is the first standardized ginseng extract scientifically tested for 25 years. If you get tired easily, if you've lost your competitive edge, take Ginsana. All-natural Ginsana. It's energizing America. Ginsana from SunSource Health Products. Products that work naturally. For a free brochure, call 800-777-2000. 800-777-2000.
Honey, isn't it a beautiful ring?
I love it. Almost as much as I love you.
May I help you folks?
Yeah. How much do you want for this wedding ring?
Well, with my commission, our astronomical overhead, and the obscenely high markup, let's say $750.
You gotta be kidding. Not a penny more than $300.
$500.
Honey,
Imagine if buying a wedding ring was like buying a car. Greedy, intimidating salespeople and suspicious customers haggling over the price. Not very romantic. At Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro, we think buying a new car should be easy. That's why we've got no hassle buying on all our new Buicks and GMCs. No hassle takes the wheedling and cajoling out of the car buying experience by giving you the best price possible on the best cars and trucks right on the sticker. No hassle buying may not make car buying romantic, but it does make it easier. Courtesy Buick GMC, Highway 70 East Bypass in Goldsboro.
Hey, how about I throw in a mood ring for free?
You've heard about the new Clean System 3 gasolines from Texaco, available at Texaco Quick Mart. And if you've tried it, you probably have noticed the quality performance, lowered emissions, and improved mileage that the new Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines provide. If you haven't tried it, it's time for you to start enjoying the benefits for your car's engine. At Texaco and Quick Mart, they put the customer first with quality products and excellent service. So when you turn the next corner, turn into a Texaco Quick Mart and fill up with the all-new Clean System 3.
Prince Tire, not only a great place for tires, but a super location for service for your car, truck, or van. Come to Prince Tire for oil changes, brake work, front end and four-wheel alignment. Prince Tire even has those hard-to-find HGV tires, boat trailer tires, and even lawnmower tires. Right now, the Goodyear Tiempo all-season radial size P155 80R13 is just $29.99 each at Prince Tire. Name brands you can trust, service you can count on, and prices that will fit your budget. Prince Tire, South George Street, Goldsboro.
Hey, you people, stop what you're doing for a second. I just came up with a brilliant idea that will save America's economic future. It is a simple idea. Try this. Once you begin earning a salary, that salary can never be taken away. Government should guarantee it. Once you start earning a salary, it can never be taken away, even if you lose your job.
Travel, business, making life fun. That's what I'm all about. That's what my show is all about. Hello, this is Bruce Williams. Every single weekday evening here on WGBR, you, me, and about 3 million others get together. We try and solve our problems. Nobody's been to the moon. No great sellers of books. Just regular folks sharing ideas. And oh yeah, if I get in the jam, experts from all over the country bail me out. Join me on the Bruce Williams Show, 7 to 10 here on Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
I don't agree with
You're
that.
not listening to me. That's not what I was...
Wait a minute.
You know, medicines are a lot like people. Some of them just don't get along very well with others. That's why you should read the labels of all medicines carefully before you take them. That way you'll learn about possible interactions with other medicines, foods, alcohol, or with certain medical conditions. So check the medicine label first, and be sure they get along. If you still have questions about your medicine, check with your doctor and or pharmacist. A message from the Council on Family Health and the Food and Drug Administration.
Celebrating 55 years of serving Wayne County, 1150 WGBR Goldsboro.
From ABC News, I'm Mary Margaret Myers.
I have less optimism every day.
Negotiator for the Major League Baseball owners, Richard Ravitch, says it doesn't look good for a chance to avert tomorrow night's threatened walkout. He says that management is not about to relinquish its demand for a player's salary cap.
Changing the economic structure of the game, knowing what it's going to cost us to play ball, are issues that are not going to disappear from the table.
Ravitch says they also have to solve the problem of the small market clubs that can't afford to field competitive teams. Ravitch says he hasn't gotten a single call from an owner suggesting that stand be modified. Well, players negotiator Donald Fear didn't have a whole lot to say to the horde of reporters surrounding him with mics and questions.
I would appreciate it if you'd let us actually get to the meeting. That would be helpful.
The baseball talks are underway in New York City and are expected to continue to the last minute. In Washington, it's the health care reform package that's in the spotlight, and Oregon Republican Senator Bob Packwood says he's reached his limit on last-minute changes.
Are we going to go day by day, brand new bills, brand new amendments, no chance to see them? Do these have to be costed? Do they have any cost? Does anybody know? Has anybody seen them? No.
The GOP is threatening a filibuster, if need be, to kill the health care reform package that's sponsored by Majority Leader George Mitchell and backed by President Clinton. That health care bill got a much-needed vote of confidence today from a group that would be much affected by changes in health care coverage, the American Association of Retired Persons.
By supporting these bills, we can all make health care reform a reality, not only for ourselves, but for our children, our grandchildren, and the generations to follow.
Eugene Lehrman heads the AARP, and he says if either bill in the package is defeated, health care reform will be dead for years to come. You're listening to ABC News.
This is a little calcium quiz. Ready? Name a calcium supplement that's better absorbed than calcium carbonate.
Citracal?
Name a calcium supplement that's patented ultra-dense calcium citrate.
Citracal.
Name a calcium supplement that doesn't give you gas.
Citracal.
Now, when you want a calcium supplement, what's the name to remember? That's right, Citracal. Easily absorbed calcium citrate that doesn't give you gas. Citracal, the right calcium. Use only as directed.
For your absolute best deals on tires, you've got to go to Sears. Through August 27th, Response Radial GT Performance tires are just $39.99 for the P175/70 SR13, including a 40,000-mile warranty. See store for details. At Sears Tire and Auto Center, your best deal on tires means more than just your lowest price. It means free mounting, free 5,000-mile rotation, and free flat repair on all tires. We won't be undersold. Response Radial GT's on sale at Sears through August 27th.
It's a huge, huge biplane, and there was 12 people on board, and it didn't look overloaded. It's big enough to carry that many people.
Flight instructor Tracy Dart watched as a Russian-made crop duster carried actually more than 12 or 14 Cuban refugees to a perfect landing during a thunderstorm in Marathon, Florida. At last report, they were sitting in a building at the edge of the runway. Well, it's time to take a blanket, go out into the sweet-smelling summer grass, lie down under the stars, and watch them fall. All right, it's a meteor shower. It's not stars. It's that time of year when the Earth passes through those chunks of cosmic debris left by the comet Swift-Tuttle. But it's kind of hard to sound romantic about it that way. Dan Green with the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics says you're not going to need any fancy telescopes or binoculars.
These definitely are naked eye objects. In fact, the Perseids are very nice. The last couple of years, they've been quite bright. So you can expect in the course of an hour or so on Thursday night, given good observing conditions, I think to see numerous meteors that are as bright or brighter than the brightest stars.
Well, it is visible tonight. Green says that tomorrow night will offer the best view of this spectacular light show. On Wall Street, back to Earth, Dow Jones is up 18.13 at 3773.89. Trading's heavy. This is ABC News.
Loads of legroom, plenty of trunk, big performance. At Chevron, we know your car may fit you just right. But over time, the wrong gasoline can actually cause its performance to shrink. May we suggest Chevron Supreme with Tetraline. It's a simple way to help take care of your car and stretch shrinking performance back into shape. Chevron Supreme, simply smarter.
For the ABC Information Network, I'm Mary.
Newcomers arrive every day at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro. The Newcomers Information Package provides a newly assigned military member information about their new base of assignment. Most importantly, it puts them in contact with local merchants to establish new residences and lasting business relationships. The publication is controlled and mailed by Seymour Johnson Air Force Base to all incoming families. Many of the new arrivals will be making their buying decisions prior to their arrival. Thus, you are reaching them before they get to Goldsboro. The Newcomer's Guide also contains the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base telephone directory, and it will be distributed to all offices on base. We are in the final stages before publication, so if you've not been contacted, you may reach our new military families by calling Joe Lawrence at 1-800-981-9119, or you can call Joe Lawrence locally at 751-9815. Those numbers again are 1-800-981-9119, or locally at 751-9815.
views expressed by the host on this show are rooted in a relentless pursuit of the truth. The views expressed by the host on this show have liberal elites all over America rattled as they are losing control of the agenda. While liberal elites accuse this program of trying to control the minds of those who listen to the program, it is liberal elites who realize for the first time in a long time they are losing control of the minds of people that they have chosen to indoctrinate. Hallelujah! It's a great day.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
With day 568 of the Raw Deal, America held hostage to the Clinton presidency for the poor and middle class. Day 587 today for the rich, dead, and deceased. 894 days remain, only 90 days until the November elections. Glad you're with us. 800-282-2882. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby at this point in time make a call to the President of the United States to suspend the health care debate in the Senate, stop the debate from beginning in the House, or at least make an appeal to Congress to stop it, on the basis that the health care reform proposals are too numerous, too confusing, too impossible to understand, too impossible to explain. They simply have gotten out of control. And for the good of the American people, the President should suspend it, stop it, and say, let's start fresh and do it right beginning in January when we seat the new Congress. This is the only responsible thing to do. I just heard on the news Senator Packwood from the floor of the United States Senate complaining that new amendments are being offered that nobody knows what's in them. Nobody's costed the proposals that are being suggested in these amendments. And he says, what are we going to do? We have a new plan here every day that we come to this floor for debate? How are we going to cost it? How do we know what we're voting on? How can we do it? Would you like to know, my friends, that this is part of an original strategy? I take you back to July 28th. Where news reports informed us that Senate liberals had a strategy session meeting with Hillary Clinton on July 28th to talk about ways to speed up the timetable for a health plan that covers all Americans. This was on the eve of the Mitchell bill being announced. And Mrs. Clinton, back on July 28th, was afraid the Mitchell bill would go too slowly toward the goal of universal coverage. So she had a meeting, a strategy session with several liberals in the Senate. And their theory, their strategy was to add amendments as the debate went on. Back on July 28th, they conceived the strategy that is being implemented today. And as Senator Packwood said only moments ago on the floor of the Senate, what do they cost? What do these amendments say? People are offering amendments and demanding we vote on them. We haven't even seen the amendment. We get a basic shell of an amendment. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what it costs. Mr. President, it would not be a sign of weakness to withdraw at this point. It would be a sign of strength and a sign that your concern truly is for the people, and that your concern goes beyond the politics of yourself or the Democratic Party. If a politician would simply say, let's stop this. Now, Jesse Helms offered an amendment to the Senate which was defeated to do just this. But if somebody in the administration would suggest that, and you don't have to say what's in this plan's bad, I'm not suggesting, you just have to say, look, we're out of control. We just don't think this is the right way to do it. We listen to the American people, they're alarmed at the speed. We think we should come back, do it right, start all over in January of next year. And if the president did this, do you realize his approval ratings overnight would zoom? The press would be mad. Liberal Democrats around the country, they're dwindling in number, would be mad. But how could you criticize the President of the United States for saying, I want to do this right? When the President of the United States says, I want to do this right for the American people, and blame it on the legislative process. I'm saying, don't even blame it on your plan, Don't say, hey, my plan's screwed up. hey, my plan's the problem. The legislative process has gotten out of hand here. There's not enough time left in this session to argue this, to get it right for the American people. And I want to get it right for the American people. I want health care reform, which is needed, and I want to focus primarily on the spiraling costs that we have to bring under control. And he's just guaranteed his re-election if he'd do it. And at the same time, why fashion this? He would have done the right thing. See how getting elected and doing the right thing may go hand in hand? See how putting politics aside and doing the right thing might actually make a politician a revered, respected figure. That's not a dream. My staff is going bonkers here. Come on, dream on. You wait. I'm telling you, if he did this, he calls a press conference someday at 3 o'clock right when this show's over, or at noon, I don't care, whatever he calls. If he calls a primetime press conference or a primetime speech from the Oval Office, hey, here, do this, primetime speech in the Oval Office, and structure it such that everything being done is take Greenberg's advice. Run away from himself. The president should run away from himself, run away from his party, and run to the American people and say he's withdrawing the bill because he wants to do it right for the American people, and the legislative process is out of control. And he'd have to say that. He don't want to insult Congress. The legislative process has simply gotten bogged down, and there's not time to do this right, and I want to do this right for the American people. What's the Republican response going to be? They send Dole up there, and they say, well, we applaud the president for doing this. All they can say is we think this is a trick. The president knows he doesn't have the votes, and so he's resorting to a trick to start all over. It's about all they can say. It wouldn't be a trick if you admit you're going to start over and try to get what you want. You're just going to try to do it differently and better. You people in the White House listening room, just pass this along. I mean, you got 2 years to get what you want here. You might even stave off some big damage in the November elections. Because then you wouldn't send these guys home having failed. You'd send these guys home renewed with vigor to do it right. I ought to shut up. This is too good an idea. But it's the right thing to do for the American people. And I'll tell you, because this is a joke, folks. This debate, this bill, this 1,400 pages. Actually, it's not a joke. And the reason I don't think they're going to give up on it is if you look at what you can find in this bill, this is so much government takeover. This is what the Clintons are made of. Anyway, they ought to think about it. Still time. It's only August. Could do this right before the August recess. Send people home heroes. And the Republicans would be left going, oh, they could claim victory if they wanted to. But as long as the president says we're coming back in November or in January, we're going to do this right for the American people. And if he wants bipartisanship, if he has to have that, bring some Republicans in the first meeting. Televise some of this. This is a huge thing. They started out in secret. They tried to keep it secret. And they're still trying to keep it secret. They're still trying to sneak amendments by people at the last minute. President of the United States, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that I have to go on television for 2 minutes every night. I cannot possibly explain to you in 2 minutes every night what's in this health care plan and get you to support it. I can't possibly do it. And that's what I've had to do here because of whatever he wants to assign it to. Blame it on conservative critics' help. Because it's probably true. Blame it on me. The truth has come out. But we're going to do it right for the American people. And, don't have a disabled child sitting on the desk in the Oval Office when you do it. Just look people straight in the eye. It'll never happen. But boy, if it did, I guarantee you, you'd see approval ratings up over 50%. Don't you think? Now, crime bill. I know a lot of you people want to talk about the crime bill and how there are some Republican turncoats in the crime bill who are supporting the crime bill because of the assault weapons ban. By the way, do you know Do you know who originally came up with the idea for the midnight basketball leagues? We had a call who couldn't hang on. It was a seasoned citizen who called and asked, who was this? Whose idea is this midnight basketball league stuff? And the seasoned citizen hung up. And we thought, well, it's just an amalgamation of democratic theory. You know, it's just one of these things that bubbles up out of the democratic cauldron of ideas. But we researched it. We put people from the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies on the case, and we found one name. A single person came up with the idea for midnight basketball leagues. It was Democratic Congresswoman Pat Schroeder of Colorado, who conceived the idea of midnight basketball leagues. Pat Schroeder came up. I was stunned when I heard that. I thought it would be somebody from the Black Caucus, but it wasn't. Somebody in the Black Caucus ought to be mad, in truth, but they're not. When we come back, I got a story out of Kansas City concerning the criminal justice system that'll just have you steaming right after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
You know, my friends, I've read dozens of comments from satisfied owners of allergy-free electrostatic air filters. You've heard all the claims right here, from cleaner homes to fewer allergy symptoms. Well, a crack EIB staff has interviewed some allergy-free filter owners. Listen to this.
You know, I've had my filter for a week, and hey, it's incredible. I mean, the dust is literally gone in my house.
The children aren't sneezing and coughing anymore. It's cut down on our doctor bills.
My house is cleaner and I breathe easier.
My husband and I needed something more than just a furnace filter. Your allergy-free filter is amazing. The dust is practically gone and no more sneezing. It's great.
Incredible. It's nice to buy a product whose advertising claims are actually true. We are breathing easier with a lot less allergy problems. Thank you, Allergy Free.
Okay, folks, what more do you need? Get your credit card ready along with your filter size and call 1-800-ALLERGY. You owe it to yourself and your family. And if you mention the EIB Network, you get 25% off the retail price. Call Allergy Free now, 1-800-ALLERGY.
Here's your chance to make a statement about the Clinton administration. The Washington Watch Company has just introduced the Clinton Watch, a unique quartz wristwatch that actually runs backwards. The Clinton Watch features a caricature of Bill Clinton with all three hands running backwards, and it keeps perfect time because the numbers are backwards too. Order the Clinton Watch now for only $29.50 plus $4.95 postage and handling by calling 1-800-70-WATCH. Not available in stores. You must call 1-800-70-WATCH to order. All major credit cards and checks accepted. Call 1-800-70-WATCH now.
Knowles Carpet has been serving Goldsboro and Wayne County for over 45 years with quality installation of carpet and floor covering. Family dedication to this business has been enjoyed by thousands of customers. Joining Carpet One 5 years ago gave Knowles Carpet the additional buying power of 450 other stores to bring you the best prices available. Put it all together and it means quality floor covering and expert installation by a truly family dedicated business. Knowles Carpet, your Carpet One store, 2311 Wayne Memorial Drive, Goldsboro.
Hungry for lunch? Well, you need to head to Western Steer. Enjoy the daily lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 4, starting at only $1.99. Western Steer's hamburger steak with baked potato or fries, toast, and a trip to the bakery is only $1.99. Western Steer also has other fine lunches and mouth-watering steaks that will make you come back for more. So when your stomach is growling and you're ready for lunch, come to Western Steer, located on Berkeley Boulevard across from Sears in Goldsboro. Come on in, Mr. Johnson. Glad to see you. Oh, no, don't sit on that. I knew I should have gone to the State Office Equipment Company. They've got a large selection of office furniture for any size office, even mine. They even deliver. Secretarial chairs for only $79.95. Bookcases starting at $59.95. Filing cabinets from just $79. Desks and a large selection of oak and walnut. Oh, let me help you out, Mr. Johnson. Now about signing that deal. Mr. Johnson, State Office Equipment Company on East Ash Street, Goldsboro. Call 731-3000.
It's hard to stop a train. E.T. Farrell & Son of Mount Olive, your quality train dealer, has the Train XL 1100 gas-electric design, tested, and manufactured to last. Equipped with the legendary Climate-Tough compressor, the XL 1100 will run for years regardless of the climate or weather. The compressor is covered by Train's 10-year manufactured limited warranty, plus 20 years on the heat exchanger. So for reliable year-round comfort, call E.T. Farrell & Son. Serving eastern North Carolina for over 50 years. Call 658-2971.
Remember, you people, today's recommended reading list for Republicans in the Senate and the President in the White House, The Taming of the Shrew by William Jefferson Shakespeare. Mrs. Clinton losing it to comments in the Washington Post yesterday. You want to hear another example of Mrs. Clinton losing it? Even President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who oversaw passage of the landmark Social Security legislation, quote, didn't have to describe every jot and title of that bill. Quote, he didn't have to carry around actuarial tables or do computer runs on the different costs of cataract surgery to convince the public of the need for change. It's Mrs. Clinton lamenting and complaining and whining that FDR didn't have to do what she's having to do. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. Roosevelt didn't have to answer to the people. Roosevelt didn't have to answer to the people, Mrs. Clinton. He was able to ramrod this stuff through because of an economic crisis and a number of other factors, like not nearly as good a communications network as exists today. Besides, how does she know he didn't have to do all that? She'd been consulting Eleanor lately in seances. Vicious personal hatred attack. Sorry, take it back. No, it's not. Simply responding to what she has said. She consults Eleanor Roosevelt when times get tough. She said this at Lincoln Center here in the Wave-Alric. I want to read you from the Kansas City Star today a shocking story. This is going to anger you. And I want you to ask yourself if the new crime bill would have any effect on this. Jerome Oliver, full of liquor and PCP, was in the passenger seat of a car near Westport last year. It's in Kansas City. His friends daring him to shoot someone. Anyone. College student Brian Gromowski and his friend Chad Gert were walking down a midtown street. Jerome Oliver fired 7 shots on the dare. Gromowski died from a bullet in the head. Jackson County prosecutors on Tuesday labeled the crime first-degree murder, killing marked by cool reflection. Jackson County prosecutors were stunned as Judge John R. Gray didn't agree. As Gromowski's relatives gasped, he pronounced Oliver guilty of second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Judge Gray, who tried the case instead of a jury, sentenced Oliver to life plus 25 years in prison with parole possible after 15 years. The father of Mr. Gromowski winced in pain outside the courtroom and said, they want us to have faith in this judicial system? What system? You see, Missouri law does not allow voluntary use of drugs and alcohol to be used as a defense. But first-degree murder requires cool reflection. Mary Clark, assistant public defender, told the judge in her closing statements Tuesday that the 4 persons in the car had been drinking and smoking PCP and marijuana. This is not an excuse, and it does not excuse murder, she said, but again, the question is, what was he thinking? She said that Jerome Oliver was incapable of cool reflection, as required by Missouri law. Jim Humphrey, assistant county prosecutor, countered that the facts showed cool reflection. Oliver, 19 years old, fired at the victims from 25 feet away. Mr. Humphrey read from the testimony of Andre Friday, a youth in the car and a key state witness. Quote, the people in the back seat were daring him to do it. They were daring him to shoot somebody. They just kept daring him. Then they quit for a bit. They started back up after a while, and that's when everything happened. Witnesses said Oliver fired 3 shots that missed. A woman in the car yelled, "No!" And about 4 more shots sounded. As the car sped off, Friday testified, Oliver said, "I told you not to dare me." Jim Humphrey, assistant county prosecutor, said the lull between the first and final dares and the pause between the 2 bursts of shots were proof of cool reflection. And then he asked what would happen if people all over started drinking 6-packs and shooting others. Would they say, "Well, we're sorry he's dead, but we were drunk"? Do we give him second-degree murder? Don't we then cheapen the lives of us all? He's going to be out 15 years on parole because when he shot 7 times out of a car and hit a citizen in the head, he happened to be drunk and on PCP. So that lessens his guilt in Missouri. Because he was drunk and on PCP, he couldn't have coolly reflected upon what he was doing. First-degree murder, you have to know what you're doing. Now, I ask you if the crime bill pending would have any effect on something like this. Not unless the 3 strikes you're out statute comes into play here. But if this is the guy's first time or second time, he's still out in 15 years. If it's his third, then he's in for good, but do we want to have to wait for 3 such occurrences for something like this? The judge